Babe, test 1, 2, babe.
Uh, is this like has like the interview basically already started or like?
All right. I think we both clap at the same. I don't know how it works. All right, 3, 2, 1.
We've already taken a look at every notable cheater that Super Mario 64 has ever seen, but enough about cheaters for now. Let's talk about the people who really deserve the attention, the ones who have taken a world record for real. This past year, Super Mario 64 has seen world records in all 5 of its main categories lowered to an insane level. This has included multiple improvements to the 120-star record, culminating in the first ever run of 1 hour and 38 minutes, a milestone which was sought after by many. Since then, several runners have achieved this time, and all sights are now set on the next minute barrier, the 137. With multiple runners currently grinding at a top level, the world record will surely be beaten very soon. And anyone who has been watching Super Mario 64 for the past month knows that world record paced runs have been happening nearly every single day. But what does it really take to get a world record? Earlier this month, I sat down with the current top 3 runners of 120 Star, Cheese, Simply, and Puncake, to ask this very question, and to see what their plans are moving forward. This is the story of 3 speedrunners, and how they were each able to take the world record for the first time.
When I found out about everything, it was back in, I would like to say, late 2012. My brother, I think, was the one who actually found out about speedrunning in general.
I know how I got into it. I got into it because my brother, I don't think I knew what speedrunning was at the time my brother did.
I found Mario not really looking for it. It was just on Twitch as one of the top streams when Twitch was getting poppin' in 2012. And I stumbled upon Siglemic, and he was doing an August marathon of world record attempts. And all of this was very new to me. I had no idea what speedrunning was or anything like that. I mean, I played Mario as a kid, and I was just amazed. I was like, holy shit, this guy's insane.
I think my original inspiration was Giano, and then Giano stopped running very shortly after I got into the game. So I think when he left, I kind of got inspired by Sig in that way. I definitely watched Sig back in the day. I loved his streams.
And then I started looking up YouTube videos when I was alone. And a lot of task videos came up, right? So, of course, like most people at first, we were thinking, who the hell is Task? Why are they so good? I don't get it. Because it's crazy. And of course, watching a task video back in late 2012 is like, oh my god, it's insane. So that was a shock to us. So it immediately got us interested to watch more stuff.
I just wanted to play the game. I didn't even want to speedrun it or anything. I was just like, you know what, this is a good game. Let me try it. And then my mom got me a Xbox controller from GameStop. And then I was like, all right, well, I'll try to learn one thing. It'll just be fun.
I guess the reasoning is really short and simple, but I just got into it and found it interesting because the movement looked cool, basically. Because SM64 is a very movement-based game in that sense.
It was addicting, and I just kept going after that. I was just hooked.
I just got hooked on it. It was my main focus for so on. I mean, it still pretty much is.
It was immediate addiction, immediate connection. I fell in love with the idea of speedrunning, and I just couldn't stop. That was it.
No intention to ever really get as far as I did. It was just really fun, mostly.
All 3 runners had found an interest in SM64 at around the same time. However, they would not cross paths until almost 2 years later. But when they finally did, the 3 would form a legendary friendship with a bond like no other.
Okay, what I hate Puncake, and also Simply. No, so I met Simply first. I'm pretty sure it went like this, where... Oh yes, I was watching Bebop Bandit's stream. He was an old school runner and everybody used to love him and watch him. And Simply was there. I saw Simply, he was a mod in his chat. Back in those days, people used to care about having mod in chats, right? So I saw Simply in his chat, and I was like, who's Simply? And he had mod and stuff, and he looked like he knew what he was talking about with Mario. And I was like, I'm jealous. I want mod. Who's Simply? And then the same night later, I saw Simply was streaming Mario. I'm like, oh, this is the Simply guy. I went in his stream. He had no face cam, but he had a 148 in 127, which at that time was a pretty damn good time. And the next day I was streaming, and he came in my chat.
I was playing again, and then I had heard of Cheese, and I went in his stream and just typed hello or something.
And he was just shit talking, having a good time.
He said something like "You're my idol" or something, and he was kind of joking around. But he kept throwing that word around, like idol, because he knew who I was, because he like saw me on the leaderboard or whatever, and we were like at the same era, you know.
And then for some reason I was just talking in his chat, and we just clicked, man.
We clicked really well.
Me and Simply just had amazing connection with each other, and it was just like we just happened to be great for each other when it comes to friendship.
He wanted to get in a Skype call, and I don't know if it was him or me. I knew I wanted to talk to him though. We wanted to talk because I think we just thought each other were funny.
So on the third day, we Skype called each other and just practiced Mario for hours and hours, and that basically was the start of our friendship. And we would just talk ultimate shit. We would talk so much shit, dude. We would just talk the funniest nonsensical things.
Simply, he's just like, he's always been like really goofy, I guess. Some of the shit I've seen in the stream is like, he's not really like faking anything. Like, I've seen him do this shit at like GDQ events. And Cheese is like, how would I describe Cheese? Like, he's also like kind of goofy in like a different way. Like, they can both be pretty funny for sure.
We were the boys for a long time, and then once we had like caught up to where Puncake was, because at that time Puncake was still far ahead of both of us, we got Puncake into the group as well.
I think what happened is that Simply and Cheese were talking, and then I somehow just like joined that group, I guess. Like I think that's how it started. I'm pretty sure.
Puncake came around a little bit after that. Puncake was always he's very introverted, never really talked to much people, and then like I think it was like early 2015, late 2014, he finally started joining Skype calls with us.
Puncake he's someone who's like always felt pretty cold, like pretty unaffected by stuff.
Puncake is a lot different to us. Puncake is much more, I mean, he's monotone Jones, you know. What else could I say? Everyone knows how Puncake is.
Out of me, Cheese, and Puncake definitely gets mad the least. Like, he seems to be the most tame, the most laid back.
He's very nonchalant, very like whatever. He would just do anything. He would just go with the flow. That's what he is. And he would just chill and do whatever. That's very much his personality. Me and Simply are much more, we love to talk shit. I don't know how to explain it.
By the time the three had come to know each other, Puncasian was already a level above them as a speedrunner. As a person, he was pretty laid back. But as a speedrunner, he was pretty crazy.
When it comes to speedrunning, Puncake is pretty crazy. You know, Puncake is known for his consistency more than anything else. Puncake has an insane capability to always play well, you know, and always keep a very good mindset. I always envied Punkake's ability to always kind of stay level-headed and not get too nervous and not break down too much, you know. Puncake is so good at that consistency. It's a very cool quality about him.
I fucking did it! 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 I fucking did it!
I mean, very happy for sure. Like, I don't know how to describe it besides that. It was just nice to like see my hard work finally pay off. Just so many nights where I just like practiced for several hours, and it's just like rewarding to see it pay off. So I was obviously like very happy, and the 120 star world record is one of the most prestigious world records out there to have, really. It's like one of the most cared about records, if not the most cared about record in like speedrunning as a whole. Like, it's definitely up there.
For the first time in almost 2 years, Saglemic had been dethroned as the champion of 120 star, but Puncasian wasn't the only one who was hungry for the title. Cheese and Simply were behind, but it didn't take them very long to catch up to his level.
Puncake finally started talking to us and Skype calling, and we became the trio, you know. And then at that point, me and Simply climbed the ranks. We got like top 10, both of us, very quickly.
And we just practiced a lot together, and we'd stream together a lot. Like, our streams would be us in calls, just doing runs for hours. When you have a buddy to grind alongside with you and someone to push you, it makes it more fun, and it makes it more like you really want to try your best. And so me and Cheese going back and forth was, we improved really fast.
I may not look like I'm having a lot of fun, but that was still very exciting.
Did I tie with Siglimik?
In those days, we were saying, oh, the lowest time that we can get now is like 1:41:30. Like, there's no way we can get lower than 1:41:30. That's just so hard. And so I come out and get world record and get a 1:41:16. Like, that's like saying now, oh, the best time we can get right now is probably a high 1:37, and I get a mid 1:37. You know, it's like insane to think that's the thing. That's what happened. So because I got that time, I was literally like hyperventilating. I was going crazy. I couldn't believe it because I knew I was good enough to get world record, but it was like wow, beating Nero is crazy, you know, because he was so far ahead of us. And then I got a time that obliterated the world record. So it was just insanity. On top of it being my first ever world record, all that stuff, and it was a shit ton. It was an insane amount of emotions.
The rate that these three runners improved at was unmatched at the time. But unlike Cheese and Puncake, Simply would have to wait much longer to get his first world record.
Many people know this already, but Simply couldn't play for ages because of his hand problems.
My hands had been pretty much fucked by Smash. When my hands originally had their problems, I wasn't even playing Mario. I was grinding a lot of Smash, and I was playing Fox. And Fox is a very technical character that's extremely demanding on the hands, and it's not even close to out of the ordinary for Smash players who main Fox to develop hand problems like tendonitis and carpal tunnel. Then I had come back to Mario a couple months later, and my hands didn't really feel too bad playing Mario, but as I got closer and closer to get into the record back then, when the record was like a mid 139 or something, the hand pain got too bad to the point where I had to stop.
When he was going through his issues with his hands, he tried so many things to try to help him his issues and fix the pain and that kind of stuff. He read books, he did all this stuff. He started meditating. And the fact that he said, I'm gonna start meditating, and still does it now years later, it's crazy, you know?
Simply's hand problems had effectively put a stop to his speedrunning career, but he wasn't ready to give up just yet. He found the answers to his problems in the form of the Mind-Body Prescription, a book with an unorthodox but effective method to heal the pain in his hands.
A viewer recommended me that book, and then I gave it a read. I did the things it said to do. I kept an open mind, and it worked. My hands felt... It was so weird. Like, I at the time, I felt like I was on drugs or like I was going crazy or something, because I was just so shocked by how quickly the pain had gone away that had limited me so much. I can go back, I can try this again, and that was like a legendary comeback for me.
I think a thing that happened with Simply is that because he dealt with his hand issues for so long and like went through like a pretty rough period of time, I think he developed like a stronger mindset throughout that period of time for sure.
In the moment, in those 2 years, you know, I felt really cheated. I felt like betrayed almost, like, holy fuck, this is so unfair, why me, type of thing. But by the end of it, And by the time that I came back, it just allowed me to have an appreciation that no one else could have. Like, because no one knows what it's like to not have your hands, you know? That's a feeling that very few people get. Is like, you literally cannot play or grind because you have this problem with your hands. And so I also felt like, because I was able to navigate that and push through the problems with my hands, that it aided me in the mental journey through getting the world record.
Simply had successfully conquered the challenge of healing his hands, but he had not yet fully conquered the biggest challenge that speedrunning has to offer, the challenge of conquering his own mind.
I'm tired.
Speedrunning is just it's very, a good way to put it, I think, is like it's very mentally taxing, especially if you're running SM64 at like a top level. Like,
when you're streaming Mario and you're deep in the grind, the mental bullshit that you have to go through can be so tough and so debilitating that each day feels like you're climbing a mountain. Like, it can get really bad and really depressing, especially when things aren't going good. Like, it's so easy to feel good when your runs are going good, but those days where you get nowhere and you're just resetting in the beginning just make you never want to play the game again.
it's just hard as fuck. It's extremely challenging. It can feel really like unfair and unforgiving when, like, especially when you're putting so much time into the game and then you do runs and then you just don't get anywhere. That, especially if you have multiple days in a row like that can like really weigh down on your mentality.
The worst feeling you get is when you feel like you're plateauing, or you feel like you're just stuck in this state of like you just feel like you're bashing your head against the wall when you're doing runs.
All the top SM64 runners have been running the game for years, so they've been dealing with this like mentally taxing like game, or like hobby, whatever you want to call it, like speedrunning itself. We've just been dealing with it for so many years that, I don't know, it can just destroy you inside, I guess.
In my first like 2 years of speedrunning Mario, it was bad. I was basically known because of my rages.
Jesus fucking Christ, what is with my jumps, man? Oh my god! Jump! Oh!
And I'm 100% sure it's because of my situation in life at the time. I was still in Trinidad. I was very lonely. I was still in the closet. My sexuality, I wasn't very open about it. You know, it was a lot of things. I was going through depression. It was a lot of things that I hated in my life. And that definitely made it worse.
I can still get like really frustrated and tilted and like go on like a rant when I'm like struggling with something, but that might just be the way that I cope with it or something, with like mistakes.
I'm so used to getting frustrated and raging and stuff that I just accept that it's gonna happen and I do it anyway. A lot of times the best way to deal with frustration is to just let it out, scream, do whatever you need to do. And I guess I'm so used to that method that I just kind of accept it. A lot, sometimes I actually have felt, you know, I don't even know if I'd fix this. Actually, some part of me, I still think that. I'm not gonna lie, I still think that. Sometimes I do think that it can't be helped.
After healing his hands, Simply returned to speedrunning and immediately threw himself into a brutal 6-month grind for the 120-star world record.
I had to at that point. I felt like, because I had dropped out of school, and I was like, all right, this is what I'm doing. And there's people who could tell you that were there of how depressing my streams had gotten. Like, I was losing viewers, I was going down and everything. I was like, basically hitting the point where I was like, is this even worth it? Like, is this even really what I want to do with my life? Because the runs were just getting so bad. I was in such a bad spot mentally with runs where I was like, just locking myself in a cage, basically.
When he was grinding for world record, I think there was like multiple times he was like actually thinking about quitting.
And I was like, well, I could stop. And I was very close to stopping. Like, I was pretty damn close to giving up before world record. But something kept me going, and that was definitely partially it. A big part of it was the fact that I dropped out of school and decided that this is what I wanted to do. And then I felt like I broke my brain, basically. It's like, imagine a rubber band, and every day that I was grinding, I was walking against the resistance of the rubber band. And then at that point, when I was like hitting my lowest of my lows, the rubber band was like so taut. You know, it was so much stress, so much tension on it at that point that I was like about to snap. And then I kept going against it, and then eventually the rubber band snapped. And then I felt like I had found a new love for the game. I fell back in love, basically, after pushing past this threshold of like my own mind or something, to where I was like, oh, this is why I play the game. I was able to find that joy in just playing well once again. After so many days of playing like garbage and having terrible runs, I just kind of found my happy place in Mario, which is that just trying your best and not dwelling too much on anything else, and really like paying deep attention to the game.
In my case, it's like a lot of what I mentioned, even though I know what I have to do, I still have to work on it. I still have so much to work on to be able to actually get to that level of being able to stay calm and control myself and not get as frustrated and that kind of stuff.
There's definitely like improvement to be made. Like I definitely don't think I have like the strongest mindset. Like I said, I think Simply does.
I attribute a lot of my mental game to the book The Inner Game of Tennis, and the main takeaway from that book is strive for trying your best. If you try your best, it's really hard to get mad because you tried your best. And to me, trying my best is focusing as much as I can. There's a weird thing that happens where you can get overconsumed in the game, and then pretty much all your self-worth and stuff is based in the game.
A lot of it is ego at the end of the day. A lot of it is ego that gets implanted in our brains after being so good at a game, that the whole reason why we reset so much is all because of ego. It's all because we think that every run has to be perfect, because it's a battle with our own minds, with the idea of, oh, we're so good at the game and I practiced this one thing for 100 hours, so if I mess it up, I can't accept that. You know, it's just that's a very toxic way to think, and Simply kind of just realized that and kind of came to grips with it. It's all those things put together. Simply understands through all the hard work that he's put in himself what it takes to get a world record. Simply has he has matured so much. It's crazy, you know. I feel so proud as a friend, you know, because like when I first met Simply, he was much more immature and he was a lot younger too. He did all this stuff and it worked, you know. He got through his issues and then he came back and he got world record. He grinded all the way down to get a world record. Like it's insanely motivating to even think of, and admirable.
While I was grinding for world record, not only did I, develop a better mindset and way to approach the game, but I felt like I was also applying those same concepts to my general life. And I was realizing things about myself that like normally just went under the radar, because like when you're practicing, meditation and stuff like that, you become a lot more aware of what's in your head, and then it starts to become kind of an interesting dive into yourself when you figure out the root of thoughts. That's interesting stuff.
There's a lot of things that he's said to me personally, like, talking about the reason why he speedruns, the whole point of it, the fact that not every run is going to be good, and it's fine to play bad sometimes and all that kind of stuff.
I'd have these conversations in my head back and forth of like, why does it even matter if I do it or not? Like, I know I can do it. So what does doing it really prove? Because I already know I can do it. It's like, and I remember having those conversations, and even now when I think about that, I'm like, I don't really know the answer. Like, why would I do it? And I guess the conclusion that I came to is that it's a good challenge. And, you know, challenges like that are what build you as a person and make you stronger and make you able to do other things. That's the difference between someone who does it and someone who doesn't, is that they realize, like, the value of a good challenge.
Simply's world record would stand unbeaten for the next 8 months. After his insane achievement, 120 Star would not see as many runners compete to lower the record like before. But of course, that could never last forever. We now jump to the present day.
Holy shit! Ah! I don't know if it's world record. Holy shit! Nobody, including myself, expected for me to get a new world record for months. My reaction of me screaming and saying, holy shit, is me basically asking myself in my head, how on earth did I do this? I don't understand. But I guess that just goes to show that the muscle memory that you build up after 6 years of playing, I mean, obviously it doesn't go away. It's always there. You just have to dig it back up again. But it's just crazy how fast I dug it up, I guess. That was the most surprising part.
I came into this game watching Siglemic doing a 12-hour-a-day, 120-star marathon for a month. And so I thought that was super fucking sick. I thought that was dope. So I think it would be cool if I did my own marathon run of a month of 8 hours. I'm not doing 12 hours. That's too insane. But I'm planning on doing 8 hours a day marathon, 120 star world record attempts to try to push for 137. I just want to have fun. I just want to play a lot of Mario, pay my tribute to Siglemic. Hopefully, like the ideal situation is I get 137 by the end of the month. I don't know how realistic that is. You know, even thinking about that, I get thoughts in my head of like, well, it took me 6 months to get the first world record, so how in God's name do I think I'm going to get a fucking 137 in 1 month? And that's just an example of like the mental bullshit that you can put yourself into, like these little cages that don't have to be there. Because once you're in the moment, once you're really truly focusing on the game, anything's possible. But if I can try my best for most of March, that's all I care about. And I don't care if that ends in a world record or not. That, to me, is more impressive than a world record. Is a month of honest effort. Honestly, if I can get through March without losing my mind, that's a W. Because that's a lot of Mario. That's the most I probably ever will grind ever. Like, yeah, there's going to be some hard times where it feels shitty or whatever, but for the most part, I'm having a good time, and I'm just trying to conquer this challenge. I will tell you that if I get a 137, I will never play this game like at the high competitive like grind level for 120 star again.
Thanks.
If I get 137, I'm done.
Thanks.
That is the time that I am happy to leave with. There definitely is a part of me that's ready to move on, and I think that's the advantage that I have this time around that I didn't have last time. Whereas last time, I almost had this creeping thought in the back of my head of like, well, if I get world record, or if I do get the run, like, what's my content, you know? And I was worried about that, like, will I be able to last as a streamer? And I don't know how that shit affects me subconsciously, but I'm sure it's not in a good way where it would help my gameplay in any way. But I'm at a point now where I genuinely, if I got the run, that I would be perfectly satisfied with that. I'm ready. I'm ready for the 137. I'm ready for me to get a run that ends my runs.
Right. So, oh my God. I don't know why I got emotional all of a sudden. It's an emotional thing because me, Simply, and Puncake became best friends because of this game. Because it's like, this is what got us, because of me, Simply, and Punkake's friendship is the reason why we are even this good at this game. Simply said it himself too, and I say it all the time. Because of Simply, I am this good at Mario. Because of me, he's this good at Mario. Without each other, we would not have grinded the game nearly as much. It's hearing Simply say, "Oh, I'm gonna be done with 120 after 137." It's like, damn. It's an emotional feeling. I don't want to say that because through experience and many things that have happened, I know very well that you never know what's gonna happen. So I don't want to say anything, and plus I don't want to believe that I won't ever play 120 star again after 137. You know, because it's my favorite thing to do. At the end of the day, you know, doing 120 star speedruns. Once I'm not resetting on LBLJ and Wumps, Jesus Christ, it's the best thing to do in the world. For me, personally. So I don't want to think that I would stop doing that.
Right now, like 120 star is the only thing in my mind, really. I'm definitely in 120 star mode right now. Hopefully I can retake the 120 world record this year. I would legit love to do that again. I just have to like stay motivated and like try to have the best mindset that I can, like moving forward, in my opinion, is like the optimal way to go about it.
As these three runners continue to grind for the world record, I left them to reflect on one last question.
What does it take to get world record in Super Mario 64?
Having no life and a lot of dedication and grinding your ass off, basically.
To get a world record, you have to be willing to set aside your ego, set aside any expectations. You have to have a very deep passion. That's probably what I would put above every other feature needed, is you have to absolutely have the passion for the game.
Imagine yourself playing a sport from zero, and you have to learn everything about that sport. Let's say tennis, right? You have to start learning technique, right? That's usually the number one thing. In Mario 64, it's the same thing. The technique in speedrunning is movement. That's what it is. Movement, muscle memory. You have to develop that technique, which is hundreds of hours right off the bat of practice and dedication, right? You have to learn consistency, which comes with experience in playing the game. And then you have the mental side, the dealing with frustrations, not losing motivation. When you inevitably lose motivation, because you will, knowing or understanding that you have to take breaks and that there's always ways to find that motivation again, and resorting to like just quitting is never the best option if you truly do love what it is that you're doing.
And that passion, if it's burning enough, if it's fiery enough, that will lend you through all of the trials and tribulations. Because if that isn't there, then you're not going to get through the hard times ever. You'll crack and you'll give up. You got to have the love.
But basically everything that I just mentioned, technique, muscle memory, mentality, consistency, everything I just said there applies to speedrunning, but it applies to basically any single art form that you can imagine. Every sport, every video game, all forms of music whatsoever, even studying in school, you know, it's anything that you want to be good at. So I guess these things that I mentioned, I'm able to mention because I have experience in it and it's exactly what I went through, right? But I guess what I'm trying to portray is that people need to understand that anything you want to get good at takes time. The number one thing is time. You have to all this takes time. There's no such thing as getting good tomorrow, starting today. And that's actually the main issue that I realize that people have. It's not like that they even not want to put in the time. They don't even understand that things take time. And that is a problem in itself.
Nobody who got world record started out by saying, I'm going to get world record. Ever. No one ever said that and did it. There's people who have come to play Mario and their title is like world record grind, you know? The road to world record, and they always burn out every single time. It's just it's way less stressful when you don't put that kind of pressure on yourself.
A lot of people that I see starting to speedrun Mario, they would come in my chat and be like, oh, yesterday I started playing Mario and I tried to do the bomb clip in BOB and I couldn't do it. Like, I don't know how you do this. This game is so hard. Like, well, of course it's hard. But look at how much time I've put into the game. Look how long I've been playing. You're supposed to be bad. You just started yesterday, you know? It makes no sense. It would make no sense that you would be able to do that trick perfectly after never playing the game before.
Some people think that you just have to like grind a ton of hours and that's it. But like this is not true. There's multiple factors.
What it takes to get a world record, and not just Mario but anything, time. That's what it takes. More than anything else, it's time. And more importantly, understanding that things that are remotely difficult take, I guess, blood, sweat, and tears. That's a good saying for it. And then you could achieve anything, basically. Through speedrunning and through getting world records in a game like Mario 64 has taught me that I could literally do and be good at anything I want to be good in. A lot of people still have that thought, like, oh, I would never be good at whatever. Oh, I could never do that. Speedrunning has really taught me that I could do anything I want and be good at it if I really cared. Because it really is true. Because guess what? Everybody who's really good at things that you would always think that you can never be good at, they are also just human beings, just like you. You know? They also started from zero and got all the way up there. So of course you can do it too. Anyone could be the next Mario 64 speedrunner. Anyone could. They really cared and understood that it takes time and effort. And when I say effort, I mean like an insane amount of, like literally blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, I've literally bled through speedrunning Mario. I have sweat, all the time. And I've literally cried over this game. So all those three things, that's what it takes. So I guess that's pretty much all I could say.
As of the making of this video, the 120-star record is still held by Cheese, but it's safe to say that this won't be the case for long. Several top runners have had multiple runs on 137 pace, and they're only getting closer each day. Any of them could be the next world record holder. We'll just have to wait and see who can clutch out the final run. I want to thank Cheese, Simply, and Puncasian for taking time out of their days to complete these long interviews.
This interview is as long as a long chicken, and you should include that in the video because Simply will find it funny.
All three of these runners, along with several others, will be grinding for world record in the coming months. Super Mario 64 is currently in one of the most volatile times in its entire history, and you won't want to miss any of it. Please check out all of these runners if you want to witness for yourself what will surely become some of the greatest speedruns of all time. If you enjoyed this video, please also consider subscribing to this channel and checking me out over on Twitch. My gameplay isn't quite at a world record level yet, but some pretty cool things are still happening over there. Let's fucking go, dude! Holy shit! Dude, holy fuck, I can't believe I just did that.
What's up, Charlie Brown? Are you interviewing Simply about why he cheated?
I'm nutting right now.
Yeah. I bet that was funny.
Yeah, it was funny.
Bye.
Bye.